Thank you, Marvin. It's so great to be here. Everybody who's joining us virtually, thank you for just sitting down today to learn about Dragonfly and how this software that we've built can really simplify your athletic department and your activities department for everybody from the parent to the athlete to the coach and administrator. As Marvin mentioned, my name is Rachel Merritt. I'm the Customer Engagement Manager at Dragonfly. And so you may have heard from me on occasion in your email inbox when we are announcing new software updates and features that are available to you, or just making you aware of different things in the software that can improve your workflow and your day-to-day in Dragonfly. So I'm joined by my colleague Clint Sanders, and I'm going to let him introduce himself as well. So.
Good afternoon. Like Rachel said, I'm Clint Sanders. I'm the product manager for Dragonfly, and spent quite a bit of time in a previous lifetime doing athletic training at the high school level. So know all about the kind of the day-to-day stuff you guys are dealing with, and really excited that you're getting to see the product that we've spent so much time on. But what's great about it too is just all the ways that the feedback that we've gotten from coaches and administrators throughout Alabama has really helped us to make a great product. And we really hope that the things that we're showing you today and the things that we're going to continue introducing over the course of the next several years just make it so much easier for you to do your job and to do that well and really be able to stay focused on the kids. That's our goal more than anything, is that your student athletes have a great opportunity to participate. We hope that that's happening very soon, and I know there's lots of decision making going on right now, but we're excited about that. I'm going to kick back to Rachel, but as we kind of prep for things, I think she's going to go over a little bit of what we previously discussed, just kind of overview of where we're going to go throughout this session as we talk about some of our good communication tools and things like that. So Rachel, go ahead and take that away.
Thanks, Clint. So as Clint mentioned, we're here to build software to make your life easier, but not only are we a technology company, our team is comprised of people who are also passionate about athletics. We're people who played middle school and high school sports growing up. Several of us were also involved at the collegiate level playing athletics. Clint is our resident athletic trainer. So we understand your world and your day-to-day, and so if at any point in your Dragonfly journey you think about features that could improve your daily use of the product or things in the future that we could build upon, please feel free to reach out to us on that chat feature on our website, or our team emails are also there on our website under the About menu. So you can always reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you, and we love to hear how you're liking and using the product. So any reviews as well, we would welcome those. But earlier, when Kirk and Brandon were up here and talked about the product, we talked about getting set up, creating your account, how to set up your school and teams, how to work through different forms in the vault, and things of that nature. And today, this afternoon, Clint and I are going to talk more about a little bit more of the daily sports management tools. How do you message your parents and team? How do you get your game schedule in there? How do you access your calendar and make sure that your team can see the calendar through the mobile app and things like that? So we're going to talk about some of that functionality that really is going to be more about the weekly or the day-to-day things that you can do in Dragonfly. If you're a coach and you're just joining us and you weren't with us earlier, we're also going to talk about some things that are available to you in Dragonfly Academy. So Clint, would you go ahead and click on Academy? Thank you. So Dragonfly Academy is our online learning portal that really will help you master Dragonfly at your own speed, no matter what your role is. And you are going to go to dragonflymax.com/academy and then click on the Get Started button that's under School Staff. And from here, that's going to give you the option of athletic director or coach, and show you all of the different things that you'll be using in Dragonfly this school year. I've also heard from some people who either assist coaches or athletic directors, and they've wondered, well, which one is right for me? Is there just like a general administrator course? That will be coming down the road, but what I would say to you is if you are an athletic secretary who is assisting the athletic director, I would go through the athletic director course. That's going to give you a full overview of everything that has to do with forms and eligibility and payments and all of that stuff, but then it's also going to give you an overview of the different features that are available to coaches as well. Another great thing about Academy that we hope will help you is our Academy courses for parents. So we know you guys, there's a lot of uncertainty right now about the upcoming school year and different sports that are coming up, and kind of the last thing you need right now is probably to walk your parents through some software. So we are hoping that this Parent's Guide to Dragonfly that you can find on Dragonfly Academy will be a great help to you as your parents learn how to use the product. So not only do we have courses for how to use this on the app, but we also have it for how to use it on the web, how to use Dragonfly on the web if they prefer to do everything on their computer. In addition to that, it's not just about filling out forms. We also have courses for parents to learn how to get team messages so that when the coach sends out something about a change to practice or when team pictures are coming up, the parents will get a push notification right there on their phone and be able to get in touch with others on the team if needed. And then also, too, just showing parents how to view the team calendar, view the game schedule. And one great thing about Dragonfly, too, is that they can get injury alerts. Should, God forbid, that happen, athletic trainers have a host of tools in Dragonfly that enable them to document injuries, to suggest rehab, and different courses of action after an injury. And parents are notified immediately when their care team or their athletic trainer documents an injury in Dragonfly. So all of those tools there are for parents to learn the ins and outs of the product, and beyond paperwork, just be in contact with your athletic and activities department at your school through Dragonfly. And that's dragonflymax.com/academy/parents. And there was an email blast that went out this morning to all administrators, athletic directors, and coaches. And so you can also check out that email blast this morning just to get a little bit more information about this guide and how you can share it with the parents at your school as you're getting them on board with Dragonfly. Okay, well, Clint, let's go ahead and take a look at Dragonfly, and we will talk about your roster. So Brandon walked you through setting up your school, setting up your teams, and really all of the ins and outs of eligibility. The first thing we want you to do when we are concerned about your roster and want to go in and put all that information in is to go to the Schools and People menu. That's going to be on your left side menu there. And then once you're there, you're going to go up to, it's going to land you on your People tab and what we call your eligibility checklist. So if you want to view a roster for your team, you're going to go to the Viewing tab, and that drop-down menu is going to show you all of the teams at your school and select the team that you'd like to view the roster for. So here we've got the 2020 baseball team pulled up. And over here on the far right, you'll see that there is a roster column with different sections for number, position, height, weight, year in school, etc. that will help you fill out your roster. So to put that information in, you're just going to click on one of the cells there in the checklist, and that's going to bring up just this overlay where you can input all of that information. So Clint is going to input some info on this baseball player here. And there you go. So you will do that one time for all of the players that are rostered on your team. And then once that information is in there, you can actually export and print your roster to a CSV file. There's a button up there in the top right corner. It's kind of the universal symbol for download. You click that download roster button, and that's immediately going to give you a CSV file of the team that you have pulled up. So in addition to that, once you've got all of your roster info in there for your different teams and you know how to export and print your roster, this is what it's going to look like for you. You can also manipulate the different columns in Microsoft Excel or Numbers or whatever it is that you use. Copy and paste this into a document you might have if you like to do these things on Word, or create a PDF from there. But you can, even if you didn't want to have, school code or different columns in there, you can just delete those right there in your spreadsheet software. So that is how you input your roster information and print that and use that for however you need it for your games or your team. But in addition to that, we wanted to also draw your attention to something that's new this year that we've built for AHSAA schools, and that is the principal certified and rostered columns. Now you're going to see this first column pop up in your eligibility checklist. So for those schools that have been using Dragonfly for a while, this is going to be something new there that we'll draw your attention to. In Alabama, as you know, every student who participates in athletics and activities has to be certified by their principal. Once they have met eligibility requirements, the principal will go into Dragonfly under their unique role as principal and be able to check those students off one by one there. Under that PC column, they're under approval. You'll notice that what Clint just demonstrated is that we've tried to principal certify a student here who has not met all eligibility requirements. So your students do need to be listed in black there under the name column in order for them to be eligible to be principal certified. And there's a drop-down menu that'll give you different options. If you have someone on the team who's a non-compliant transfer, given the new bylaws that were passed this year, you can also make that selection as well. And that's how it's going to show up there for you in your eligibility checklist, which is really where we've heard, ADs and coaches are doing the day-to-day, majority of their stuff in Dragonfly. So once somebody has been certified by the principal, then we also have the rostered column. So after, tryouts and the season, you're getting ready to compete, this is where this column, you will just declare an athlete as rostered on a team. So after they've been principal certified, you can click on the rostered option, and it'll give you two options there. And now you're looking at Arnold Athlete. His name is in black, so he's fully eligible to participate this year. And he also has been certified by his principal, and he is rostered on the baseball team. So if you guys have any questions about that new feature, just let us know. We have got user guides in our chat feature there, that red button there in the bottom left corner. So if any of you need a walkthrough or more information about what all of that entails, both principal certified and rostered, just look. You can search right there in that little bar, search our articles, and if you typed in principal certified or rostered, some resources would pop up for you. I'll walk you through those options. Thank you, Clint. All right, well, now that we've talked about roster, I'm going to turn it over to Clint because we really want to also talk about all of the different event tracking and management that we have in Dragonfly. He is going to hit on the school and team calendar functionality in Dragonfly.
Thanks, Rachel. So one of the great features that we have in the Dragonfly system is the ability for you to share events, whether those be practices, games, team meetings, any of those types of events that are going on that you're going to have throughout a season. And so in order to do that, we're going to first look at the calendar functionality. The calendar is available on the web and the mobile device. So a little bit later, I'm going to show you guys the mobile device and some of the things that appear right there. But for right now, we're going to switch over to the calendar view on the web. The calendar view is any type of event, okay? Rachel's going to go a little bit later. She's going to go down and look at our game schedules. And that's going to be really important, obviously, for getting in that game schedule that you're going to print off and be able to put on the fridge for mom and dad and show them, here's the list of games for the football team. But the calendar functionality allows you to put all of the different types of events into a single calendar that everybody is able to share. And so the way that calendar functionality is set up is under the calendar tab on the left side menu, you have a full calendar month by month. You also have a couple of different views that you can look at. So our calendar can be switched to using this button right up here in the top left, right next to the logo at the top. You can switch to a list view where you can see a list of all of the different events that are going on. This can be across multiple sports. This can be, if you're a school system, it can be across multiple schools within your school system. And you can see all of those events listed there. And you can also go to a schools view where you can see all of the different events on all of your schools kind of in a full grid. I've got a lot of schools listed here, so the grid isn't perfect, but it does let you get all of those events and kind of see the bigger picture as a whole of what's going on within your school system. We're going to switch back to that calendar view though. And so on the calendar view, what I have right now are multiple different events. I've got a recurring event that happens every Wednesday here. It's our coaches meeting. I've got that scheduled for one of my teams. I've got some games scheduled here. Those games were created in the game schedule module and automatically added to the calendar. But you'll also see I've got here on the 16th, I've added a preseason potluck dinner. That's an event for the football team for this test high school that we'll be working with. I've also got a game added there. So you've got a lot of functionality with the events that go on across your school and across your different teams. If you're just a coach and you want to add an event, it's very easy to do. We've got filters, so if I just wanted to see the games or the events related to varsity football, I would use the little drop-down menu that I have right here on the right side, and I could come, and right now I've got multiple schools here, so I'm going to go ahead and clear the events for this one school, and now I'm only seeing the events for the teams that I had selected here, in this case the varsity football team at my test school. If I need to add an event, let's say we're going to have a team meeting today, I just click on the calendar. It's just like Google Calendars. You just click on your calendar, go ahead and type in team meeting for the varsity football team. Below that, I'm going to select which calendar I want that to be a part of. You as a coach or an administrator can keep up with your personal calendar events if you want to do that. But I'll show you a little bit later how we can integrate our team calendars with our Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, Outlook, however you use that, okay? Below that personal calendar, you have the list of all of the schools that your user account is connected to. In this case, I want to select the Alabama Test School 1, and I'm going to choose varsity football. So I'm going to go ahead and create a team meeting for varsity football. I've already selected the date because I clicked that in the calendar. Now I'm just going to set what time we want that meeting to happen. So we'll say we're going to have that meeting at 5 p.m. Maybe we also, because of the way the times are now, maybe we need that to be a virtual meeting. Okay, so we can include that virtual tag there and make sure everyone knows this is going to be on our typical virtual meetings, whether that's Zoom or GoToMeeting or any of the ones that are out there, Google Hangouts, things like that. You can also set these events to recur. So if I wanted to have a daily meeting, it's going to ask me, well, when do I want this to end? If I want to do that every week, it's going to set that event for each week. You also get to choose who is going to see this event and who can edit this event. So if you as an administrator are creating the event, then you may not want everyone to see that. Maybe you want just the coaches to be involved in seeing and editing that event. So we can select just coaches. Maybe we only want athletes and parents to see that. It's not a message that's important for everybody in the group. You have the ability to choose all of those or none of those based on how you want the event to show up on their calendar. When I click save on that event, it's going to go ahead and give me a notice that the event has been saved, and that's going to show up here on my calendar, where then I can click that event, and if I need to make any changes, I can go ahead and do that as well. I can click to edit that event. It'll open that up in a little bit larger menu, and here's where I can add some notes to that event. If it's a virtual meeting, maybe I have a link to my Zoom meeting or my Google Hangouts. I can put that information in the calendar as well so they can see that from the web calendar. Once that event is created, well then it's a matter of how do we get the parent or the athlete or the coach to know that that event is set up and is available. Well, the first thing that happens is they're going to receive that event as a notification in the Dragonfly mobile app. So, Haley, if you'll go ahead and switch over to that mobile view now. And you'll see on our mobile device here, I'm looking at a list of the different events for the week. So I have on my main page when I first log in, I'm going to land on a Today page, and at the very top it's got a calendar that I'm able to see the events for the week, and I also am able to move from one week to the next simply by swiping across the dates of the week that are available right there. If I need to go to a different year, let's say I need to go back and look at an event that happened last year or pick a specific day, I can do that by clicking the 3 dots right there on that calendar row, and I'll be able to choose the date of the event that I want to go back to. In this case, I want to get back to the week that we're in. I've got several events already set up. Now my account is connected to more than one school, so I'm actually seeing both sides of a game that was scheduled previously. I'm seeing the game that was scheduled by Alabama Test School 2 with AL Test School 1, and the same on the other side, AL Test School 1, the game with AL Test School 2. I'm also seeing that team meeting that we just scheduled. I can click on that if I'm the administrator, and I can make changes to that event should I need that. But again, all of those events are showing up on the Today screen of the mobile device, as well as when that event is created, the people that are supposed to see that event are going to get a push notification that says the event has occurred, and anytime a change is made, they're going to get another push notification that the time has changed, the date has changed on that event. Those push notifications come in whether you have the app up and running on your screen or not. You can tap on that event notification and it will bring you into the Dragonfly app so you can see that schedule there. You can also create events from the mobile app. So you can click on the hurricane logo down at the bottom of the mobile app there. That's kind of an action button within the entire mobile app. So you tap on that button and you'll see an event over on the top row of icons there. You'll see a button that says Schedule Event. You tap the Schedule Event button, and here you can create an event just like we did on the web. You can create that event, choose the audience you want that to go to, and then save that event. This is a great tool. When I was an athletic trainer and was using this tool at my school that I was in, one of the great ways that I used it, that calendar functionality is also tied into the injury reports that an athletic trainer can complete. And I would use it if I was scheduling a doctor's visit for one of my student athletes, I would add in the doctor's visit dates on that injury report so the athlete would start to get notifications. If a day out from that appointment, they would get a notification about that. 15 minutes out from that appointment, they would get that notification. So hopefully they actually made it to the event that they were supposed to be at, that doctor's appointment in my case. So lots of great functionality with the calendar that we have right there. And really it's just another one of those ways to keep your student athletes and your parents all on the same page without you having to have 100 different other apps. You don't have to have 15 calendars and multiple places where you're kind of shifting back and forth. Who knows, did I schedule this meeting in the right place? Is everybody going to get that notification? Well, it should all be available for you right there in our mobile app and on the website, but you only had to make that change the one time. It's also great for things like a rainout game. Game gets rained out and you know you're going to have 50 parents asking you, well, when is the next game? Or when are we going to make this one up? Well, you can just let them know, hey, this event is going to happen on this date by changing that once in the Dragonfly calendar, and it shows up for all of the parents on their updated schedule. Okay. I'll come back in a second. When we shift back to the web, we'll look at how we merge those calendars in with our Google Calendar, our Outlook, or Apple Calendar. But while we're on the mobile app, I'll go ahead and talk about our messaging components as well. When that rainout happens, you're going to need to communicate with those parents just as much as you're going to need to change the game schedule. Dragonfly's got that covered as well. We've built in a messaging platform that allows you to send messages to your team, to their parents, to an individual on a team if you need to schedule a meeting with one of your athletes or something like that. All of that is within our secure platform. It's all set up in a way that we've got good records of those messages going to and from staff to athletes and vice versa. It's also all HIPAA compliant. So your care team for your student athletes can send a message to a parent via our platform and not feel like they are violating some form of HIPAA in sharing medical information. It's meant to be communication between the care team and the parent and student athlete so they get the best of care. So our messaging tool is down in the bottom right corner of the Today screen. You'll be able to see the tabs down there, and you'll see one that says Messages. So we'll tap on that button there. That pulls up a messages platform where I can begin sending any type of message. It's just like any other text message. I'm just going to click the button in the top left corner where I can start a message. I'm going to select my recipients. Now in this case, I've got several different recipients that I could choose from. I might choose a team, so I could type in, let's say, varsity baseball, and I can select the entire baseball team. Right now, you'll notice some icons to the right of where I selected varsity baseball. The one that's lit up right now is for the athletes themselves, okay? This is really any member of the team. So this would be the athletes, the coaches, and the medical staff also. The one beside that, the big person, little person icon, that allows you to send the message to the team and their parents. So any athlete that has a parent listed on their account, which they all should as part of the registration, this will set them up to be able to send the message to the athlete and the parents. If you want to send the message just to the parents, you can turn off the athlete icon. And so then this message is sent out just to the parents to let parents know what's going on in case there's something that you don't need to necessarily communicate to the athletes themselves. I would encourage you as a school, if you really want to keep everybody on the same page, if you're sending messages to the athlete, send it to the parent also. It's always good for the parent to have access to the information that's going out to those student athletes. Gives you some measure of protection as well, so I would encourage that. The other icon beside those, so we're still in that context of sending to the baseball team, I can turn on a group chat. And so I can send a message that allows for the replies that come back to that message to be shared amongst everybody on the team. This is great for when the one parent asks, well, the game got rained out, so when's the next practice? Well, they can all discuss, all the different things that go around scheduling the next practice. What uniform are we going to wear? Who's bringing the snacks? All of that kind of thing is usually stuff that you want parents to be able to take care of if that's the case. It also, some people may be a little leery of turning that on for parents because, I don't know what they might say, right? Well, at least this way, you as the coach or administrator know what they're saying, right? And so you've got access to that whole messaging that's going on. But from there, you just click in to type your message, and we can just say, let's say, reminder about team meeting, right? And I can go ahead and send that message. That goes out as a group chat to everyone connected to the varsity baseball team, okay? Now, if I want to send just to an individual, well, same thing. I go ahead and start a new message. And in this case, I'll go ahead and start typing in the name of one of my athletes. And I see I've got a few listed there. We'll pick one out of our AL test school. Actually, we'll just send one to Fred here. And now I'm going to send a message to Fred, who is one of my athletes, but I also could select to send to Fred's parents as well. Again, I would encourage that, but it's going to send directly to that parent and that athlete. And then that message is going to come in, again, because of our notification system that's built in. They're going to receive a push notification. If the parent also has text messaging set up, that is an option that it could send a text message as well. But the idea is that you can communicate quickly to all of the parties that need the messaging, okay? And send those messages out. They get notifications, and all of that then drives them back to the Dragonfly app where they can see what's going on, not just with them, but with the whole team and all of the events that are happening in that space. So that's our messaging tools and our calendar tool. Now, Haley, if you'll switch back real quick, we'll switch over to the web view. We'll discuss how do we get that calendar integrated with our Google Calendar or our Apple Calendar or Outlook. So when we're on the calendar here, not the game schedules, just the calendar, you do have the ability as a parent or as an administrator or a coach to link this up to your personal calendar. Okay, and so to do that, we have a little settings icon up here that you can click on right beside the schedule something button and the selector for the schools and the teams. You click that settings icon. It brings you another list of all of the calendars that you have available and the teams that are available with those. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to click this button right up here that shows the Google, Apple, and Outlook icons. We go ahead and select those, and then we can choose which type of calendar we want to use. Now, there is a little work that has to happen here. The Dragonfly team is working on updating some of this to make it an even easier and better experience, just kind of an automatic experience. But right now, what you would do is select the icon of your type of calendar. You're going to choose which calendar you want to share. So in this case, if I want to share that varsity football calendar, I'm going to go ahead and select that. You can select multiple calendars if you want all of those to come in to your personal calendar. And then I'm going to go ahead and select continue. And we're going to provide you with the instructions on how to take the URL, the web address that you're going to use to get that calendar. You can click the copy button, or you can highlight and copy that text. And then we provide you the instructions of how to go to Google Calendar or your Apple Calendars or Outlook and use that link in order to bring in the calendar that needs to be added to your personal calendar. Okay? Any updates that happen to that calendar on the school side of things will automatically update for the parents, okay, or for your coaches or for the administration. And now, changes on the Google side or the Apple side, they don't immediately write back, okay? And that's one of the updates we're going to be bringing, hopefully in the near future, of making those just where any time you're setting up those events, whether you're on your personal calendar or your Dragonfly calendar, you've got those events updating automatically. But again, you've got the ability through this to follow these instructions, link up those calendar events, so all of your game schedules and all of your event calendar automatically show up on your personal calendar as well. If you need to print the instructions off because you want to be able to come back to that later, well, you could go ahead and click that print button. It's going to generate a little PDF for you that has the same instructions depending on which type of calendar you're using. Okay? So again, that's a way to share those calendars. Make sure that integration is in that personal calendar that most of us spend our day kind of keeping track of. But again, you've also got on the mobile app, you've got the ability to see all of those events and kind of keep that focused on, if you're a parent, on your student athletes, if you're a coach, on your teams, and so forth. Now I'm going to switch back over. I'm going to let Rachel take over and kind of go through the game schedule view. So she can describe how do you create those games that can end up on the calendar, and how does that all integrate with one in a single unified schedule that applies across the board for all of the different users of the Dragonfly platform. So go ahead and take that away, Rachel.
Great. Thanks so much, Clint. So before we jump into game schedules, I also wanted to draw your attention to a resource we've put together for you when your school decides to use that messaging feature. So Clint, would you mind going to Academy? And in Academy, you can bring up either the course for coaches or athletic directors. But, we reached out and heard from coaches and ADs, well, sure, this is a great messaging tool, but how do I make sure everybody gets on board the correct way? And so if you go into Dragonfly Academy, you can do it on the athletic director or the coach course, and you go into Module 6 that says team messaging there. And you scroll down and look at those buttons. You'll see there's a button there that says download messaging handout. Can you click on that for me, Clint? And so this is a handout we've put together for you just to get the word out about messaging. You know, I know there are other platforms out there that have a similar flyer. You send it home with parents, they follow the quick instructions, and then they're set up and ready to go to receive messages from the school or from the team through the Dragonfly app. So not only can you point parents to this resource, you can either email the PDF to them, put it on your website, or print it out and send it home with students. But you can also, again, point parents to the messaging course on Dragonfly Academy. They've got printed instructions, they've got a video that walks them through how to get on the app and the different notifications they can receive from the team and from the school. So just wanted to draw your attention to that. That way you have just one additional resource for you to spread the word about Dragonfly messaging and make sure everybody is using the same app. That way you are not having to keep up with a Facebook group and a group text and a group me or a remind or all of these different things, email and phone calls. If everything's in Dragonfly, it's very easy to just keep everybody on the same page. So just wanted to let you know about that resource that's new for you as well. Okay, so we are going to jump into the game schedule. Clint did a very thorough overview of the calendar, and one thing you'll notice is that he didn't add any games when he added events to the calendar, and that's because through Dragonfly, we're going to pull that from the game schedule tab. So you'll see there's a game schedule tab there on your left side menu when you log in on the web. You're going to click on that. And what you're going to see when you pull up the game schedule is if you've used it before, one thing that's great about Dragonfly, this feature here, is that we save your browsing history here. So let's just say, you know, you are only looking at one specific team and you just want to see contests for that team. Well, we save that for you so that you can come back and see what you were looking at last time. So if you come in here and you want to see just a full overview of everything, you would just clear those filters from that top filter bar there. And so when you land on the game schedule, most likely you're going to see all the games connected to your school. Now, what you're seeing here, this view, is part of our officiating platform that the state of Alabama will be using this year. So you will not see any games highlighted in red. That is what assigners and officials will see at the local association that handles your officials and assigning them to your games. But you will see this grid that shows you all the games connected to your school. And the first thing I want to draw your attention to is how some of these schools have logos and some of them don't. So if you go into Dragonfly in your Setup School menu, that's under the Schools and People menu on the left side there. You can put in all of the information for your school, but while you're doing that, it's also really important to make sure that you have your logo for your school. So not only does Dragonfly populate that in the game schedule for you and other schools to see, but as part of our partnership with the NFHS network, we also promote games to parents and let parents know, hey, Johnny's got a football game tonight at 6, click here to watch. You know, as part of our partnership with the NFHS network, that money goes, part of that revenue share goes back to your school. So if you've got Pixel Out cameras, I know that they are giving them out right now to schools. That's a great thing to add this year, and Dragonfly will help you do that, help you get more subscriptions and more eyes to the games at your school. And when we generate those emails, we pull your logo from here. So we want your school to look good on those emails. We want your logo to be high quality and clear. And if possible, when you upload your logo, try and upload a PNG file, which is going to give you a transparent background and not a white background. That way, no matter the style of email that we send out to your parents to promote the games, your logo is going to look high quality and crystal clear. Okay, so now that we've established kind of your logo and how to put your team's brand identity there on the game schedule and on those NFHS network emails, we're going to go back to the game schedule. And when you land here, you're going to see all of the games connected to your school. First thing I want to talk to you, though, about is this button up in the top left corner that's got a question mark, and that is the tour button. So if you've never been on the game schedule before and you'd like just a quick tour about the different features there, you can click on that button at any point, and that will walk you through the different features of the game schedule. So if there's something here we've talked about that later on you want just a review of, you can click on that question mark, and it will just highlight some important things for you to know about the game schedule. So first, that's the tour button, and then I'm going to talk to you about why does Dragonfly put the game schedule this way separate from the calendar. The great thing about Dragonfly's game schedule is that it's one single unified schedule. We have heard from coaches and athletic directors that it's such a pain to have to input your schedule into multiple places. And so for us, the solution is, well, let's just have one unified schedule that when something changes, other schools see that change. When something changes, the officials are notified. The officials told us, we hate it when, a game gets rained out, but the officials show up and then the school has to pay for the officials or something like that happens. Well, the beauty of the Dragonfly game schedule is that it's one unified schedule, and we've built a lot of great partnerships around this schedule so that you don't even have to worry about putting your schedule into other partners, like maybe you've had to put it into Max Preps or send your schedule to other places. Well, with Dragonfly's open API, we will actually push your game schedule out to some of your partners. So I would get in touch with your partners and make sure that they have got Dragonfly's open API and they're ready to go to receive your game schedule from Dragonfly. But when you put your schedule in here, our dream and our hope is that this is the only time you have to do it. Another reason why the unified game schedule is important is because over here, you'll see on this far right column, this officiating status column. Dragonfly not only it provides software for schools in the state of Alabama, we're partnered with the NFHS to create the Center for Official Services. And members of our team are going to talk about that exciting partnership tomorrow in depth. But you'll be able to see when your games have got officials or if they're still unassigned. And that's also there on your game schedule that you can see. So your game schedule, you will probably get, I would say fall sports have probably already gotten this date from the AHSAA, but you will receive a deadline from the state association about when your game schedule needs to be in Dragonfly. And the reason that's so important is because that schedule is where your assigners at your local association will assign your games. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback on just that concept of one unified schedule. And if at any point while using the schedule you think of ways it can improve or different information here that you'd like to see, just let us know. But if you click on a game, it'll bring up game details. And one great thing that schools can see is they're going to be able to see the crew and the game workers for their game. So if you need police, concession workers, ticket workers, those type of things, they can be added in here. And this is a way to keep all of that organized in one concise place with that unified game schedule to where you don't have to handle that with another platform or by paper or trying to get the word out to people. Those people will create a Dragonfly account, and from there they'll be able to see which games they're assigned to work as a worker. So that's another great feature to the unified system across the state and the unified schedule. Another thing I also wanted to mention is that we've also partnered with VNN. There are several schools in Alabama who use them as sort of their game content website provider. We've also partnered with VNN to push game schedules and scores out to them. And for those of you who are wondering if game scores are going to show up here, they are. They're going to show up on the game details panel. And right now you'll see score pending for a contest that hasn't been played yet. But when you put your game schedule or your game score into Scoreboard, when that just automatically grabs it from your game, it will automatically push that score into Dragonfly. So that's just one more way that technology is simplifying your life. You don't even have to worry about putting the game schedule in here. We're going to pull it from Scoreboard, and then we're going to be able to push that out to Max Preps, VNN, and other partners that you have. Okay. Is there anything else I'm missing about that panel there, Clint, before we talk about adding a game? Oh, yeah, absolutely. So here you'll see you can put in the location of the game, and do you want to type that in and see what populates there?
So the way the location information works, when you select the home team, it's always going to fill in with the name of the home team first, but that field is able to be edited. So if you're not at the home team site but you're at a neutral site, you could just type in neutral site. You could type in the name of your facility. Again, kind of as the product manager and knowing kind of the roadmap of where we're going with all of our development, we're excited that we're going to be able to add in location features down the road where geolocations will be able to show up on these events. You'll be able to share maps to the game, and really encourage people as far as attending those games as well. But for right now, you have that ability to just make sure everybody sees that detail of where is the facility, where are we actually playing that game. That's how you can use that location field in the game. Now, Rachel's going to go through how to add a game here in just a moment, but we also, from this game details page, is where you can make adjustments to any game. So if one team needs to be changed or another, you can remove that school. You may have seen me as I was entering a score while Rachel was talking, adding in the team for one of the other schools that was participating and matching up those teams. So you've got a lot of ability to change the details of the game once the game has been added to your schedule that first time. So Rachel, I'd say let's go through adding a game, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, sounds good. One other thing that I don't think you'll see on this view of the game schedule, but if any of you have been in the game schedule, this summer, you'll know what I'm talking about. You might see a game that pops up on your schedule that's highlighted in yellow. What that means is that another school has added a game with you. And when that happens, you will be asked to just basically confirm the game, confirm which team at your school is going to be competing in that game. Again, that's not something that I think we have in this particular, there it is, yeah. So that overlay right there that just asks you to select which team is playing, and there's a yellow icon, an exclamation point icon over there. You'll see that. So when that happens, no need to worry, and no need to add that game to your schedule manually. That means the other team in that game has already added it, and all you have to do is select your team from your school, and then you're good to go. And then if somebody adds, if they get the location wrong, or if the time is off, again, you can click on a game and go into those details and just make that change, and it'll not only be updated for you, but it'll be updated for the other team as well. So there are two ways to create a game in the Dragonfly game schedule. The first is the quick add option. So up there at the top of the game schedules view, you'll see that there are these fields that you can fill in quickly to add a game to your schedule. You'll have to put in date, time, home team, away team, where the game is, the sport, and then what type. Is it exhibition, jamboree? Is it just a normal game for the regular season? That kind of stuff. So you can add all of that there quickly if you're trying to input multiple games and work through that, rather than having to open up the overlay and do that in a lengthier way. So Clint is adding a game here for us. And you get a notification on your screen that the game is saved, and it should pop right up there on the game view. And then again, if you want to see any of the details, you can just click on the game, that panel will slide out, and you can edit anything as needed. That's the first way to create a game, the quick add option. Another way to add a game is to hit the create game button, and it's going to bring up, this menu here where you can be a little bit more in depth with your process and get that game on your schedule. We also have the TBD option if you're not sure about when a game is going to be, but you know that you and a coach have agreed that you're going to play it. You can go ahead and put it there. And what this more in-depth process allows you to do is add a game for multiple teams at your school. So let's just say you're traveling next week, and not only is varsity playing, but JV is playing a few hours earlier. Here on the in-depth view of creating a game, you can make those selections all at once. And it'll allow you to do it for all of the squads that are connected to that sport. So for those of you who have varsity, JV, 9th grade, every possible team that is connected to a sport in Dragonfly for your school will show up here. And if you don't need to take action at all on a game or on a team here, you'll just leave the check mark blank. And for those that you do, you'll go ahead and put in some more minor details right there when you select the check mark and create the game for those squads. So we've showed you how to create a game through the quick add option, create a game through the create game button at the top. And a great thing too about the Dragonfly game schedule is that you're able to filter and search by multiple different parameters. So this button here, the history button, will allow you to see previous searches that you've done or filtering that you've done on the game schedule. So if you're somebody who is often looking at just football, you can just click that button and your filtering and searching options will be there for you already. But if you need to create a new filter, what you'll do is you will go into the search bar and you'll see a drop-down menu of all of these different properties that you can use to filter your game. So, if you want to do it by sport, if you're an AD that sees multiple schools, you can do it by school. If you're somebody who just wants to see varsity baseball, you can click sport, and then you can hit, is it level? And then you'll see all of the different squads that you could search. So there's a lot of functionality there to the sorting and filtering, and then you'll also see on the right side of the screen, you can sort them by date. You can sort them by type. You can sort them by status. I believe that's officiating status. So any possible way that you could sort and filter your games, we've tried to give you here. That way it's convenient for you. It's convenient for the assigner at your local association who wants to get the games assigned. And then we've also got the download button here that will allow you to export the game schedule. Now this is going to export your filtering options. So make sure that you have the correct parameters there in the filtering field before you hit that download button, because if you just want varsity baseball, this is what you're going to get when you hit the download button. When you hit that button, it's going to come up as a CSV file, just like Clint showed earlier when you were exporting additional things in Dragonfly like your roster. And then from there you can print and manipulate the data or copy and paste it into another format that you so choose. So other than that, when you add a game here to your game schedule, it will automatically add to your calendar there on the left side menu. So when Clint was walking through that earlier, those games that were there, they weren't manually added in the calendar. They were just pulled straight from the game schedule that you needed to provide for the AHSAA. It also will show in that mobile timeline that Clint showed. So when you first log into Dragonfly on the app, you land on that what's happening page, the today page, and that will show you games, and parents can also look through there as well and see when events are coming up for their kids. So I believe, we want to tell you about sanctioning. So if you need to request a sanction from the AHSAA for a game, or for multiple games, the first thing you will do, you will add those games to your schedule and make sure you've got the opponents, the location, all of the details in there correctly. And then you will click on a game, and in that left side menu, you will see there is a Documents tab, or that right side menu, excuse me. And this is a fairly new feature we released here in the last month. You are going to hit that Request Sanction button. And that is going to bring up a drop-down menu, and which entity would you like to, which association would you like to request a sanction from? You can do the AHSAA. Some of you might need it from the NFHS. It's going to give you the options, and then you select, and it will give you a timestamp of when that happened. If you need to request additional sanctioning, if it needs to be sanctioned at a different level, we also allow you to do that by hitting that Request Additional Sanctioning button. And then once you do that and send that sanction request to the AHSAA, you will get a confirmation email on the status of that, and you will always be able to see the status of a sanction request here in this slide out panel on the game schedule. In the future, we will soon have contracts for Alabama schools. That is coming very soon, and that is going to also be available here in this Documents tab on that panel in the game schedule. So for those of you who need to get those contracts done, you'll go in here one time, and there'll be a button just like that where you agree to your game, and there's a record of it there in Dragonfly of the timestamp and the date of when you on your side agreed to the contract for that game. That's coming soon. Keep an eye on your inbox, and you will get a notification from me when that feature is available to Alabama schools. And if you're on this call or on this presentation and you're not receiving our emails, we send them out maybe every 1 to 3 weeks, just depending on the time of year. You can contact us in the red button. You can email me. It's Rachel@dragonflyathletics.com. It's spelled RACHAEL. And I will make sure that you are set up and good to go on notifications about features and new things that are built into the system. Well, I think that is everything for the game schedule. Clint, is there anything else you'd like to add?
We can switch over again to the mobile app really quickly. I did want to show off one feature that may be helpful as we're kind of going through the all the things that are happening, the kind of the changing nature of athletics, and really trying to focus on a contactless school. One of the things that is a great feature that we also have on our mobile app is the ability to use this what's been happening section on the bottom of our timeline. So your student athletes, when you go to view one of their profiles, at the bottom of their profile information, they have a timeline feature. This is a great feature where you can tap on that little plus button at the bottom of the timeline. Gives your student athletes an opportunity to maybe check in the weight room, and say we were there for workouts without having to fill out a sheet of paper, share a pencil, things like that. They can say when they visited the athletic training clinic, they can talk about being on the field. They can also just generally share with you how they're feeling during the day, things like that. Are they getting enough sleep? Are they, are we able to track meals? Did they go to the doctor? Things like that. They input that information, and then up at the top of the screen, there's a little green plus button. They click that, it adds to their timeline. And when you go back to the Today screen, you'll see that information for all of the student athletes on your team. That information is filling in right there. So just another one of those communication tools we have built in. Rachel's done a great job with covering all of the different communication pieces, and we're continuing to add those every chance we get. So as you have new features, please send those our way. If there's something that you think really would help you in communicating with your teams, let us know. We want to, again, partner with you to provide a great experience. And so at this point, I'm going to pass it on to Brandon and let him kind of wrap things up today.